Hello. Welcome,
I
everybody,
I
to
have
the
to take a
second.
sip of gin.
Lisa is the nicest person on the planet, but she has a wicked sense of humor. We have as our special guest Lisa from Ground Floor Theater. And before we start, I'm going to have Susie introduce herself, and then I will introduce myself. And then, ta-da, we will have Lisa introduce herself. So we will start with Susie.
Hi, I'm Susie Epstein, and I'm a native Austinite. I'm 64 and a half years old. We do start including the months when you get to be a certain age. And let's see, I'm a retired, like I'm a so all my professional career was in the disability field, and I worked with the state for 20 years, retired several years ago. So as a retired social worker, I do find myself getting in trouble all the time. And I do terrorize our neighborhood because I very passionate about keeping our trees healthy. And so I do accost neighbors rather routinely and try to educate them, whether they like it or not, on how to keep their trees healthy.
Thank you, Susie. And I'm Governor Sparkle, or Sparkle for those who think it's a little presumptuous of me to call myself governor. Anyway, I am a lawyer. I still am licensed to practice law, but I haven't been doing it in the last couple of years. I've been trying to write, and I'm having, somewhat not great success, but I've been enjoying it. And I will be performing in the group Amazing on August 11th at the Austin Public Library, the main branch, at 7 p.m. It doesn't cost anything, and I would love to see you there. And now our special guest, Lisa from Ground Floor Theater. Da 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 da! Yay!
Oh, you're muted, Lisa. Still can't hear you. Still can't. Still can't. But your lips look cool when they're moving. We heard you a while ago, so we know it's
Yeah,
possible. Let's see.
there we go. No,
So when you moved your microphone, did something happen to the microphone, Lisa, when you moved it?
Oh, hold on.
Oh, there you
Things are
there
are.
we
going
go.
crazy
We hear
here.
you.
You're there. You're good.
There you go. Yep.
Well, you're not good, but we can hear you.
I had some technical issues here with my equipment.
Aha.
Yeah, so I don't know how special I am, but thank you, Governor Sparkle. I will call you Governor Sparkle. Darn
Well,
straight.
you are the
I'm
best artistic director, according to the Austin Chronicle. And I'm
yeah,
going to be asking how you got that, but go
what do
ahead
they
and tell.
know? It's only my sixth time to win that. So, but who's counting? So, as Sparkle said, I am the executive artistic director of Ground Floor Theater. Ground Floor Theater has a mission of producing works that focus on historically underrepresented communities. We like to say we're do-gooder theater. We at Ground Floor Theater, we think we approach theater a little differently than other theater companies. We certainly approach it more differently than the way I was brought up in the business, which is good or bad, and we can talk about that. But Ground Floor Theater is an amazing production company and a venue on Airport and Springdale. And if you haven't been to see any of our shows, you should. We've won all the awards. And we do a lot of work around the underrepresented. And I will say that because of who we are, I will say we do a whole bunch of work with queer community. And one of the things that we did early on was something that I wanted to do from the beginning, which was a devised piece, which we completely made up, that surrounded the trans community called Transom. And it was an amazing, or should I say amazing, wonderful thing. And since we're throwing our ages around, I am 66.
Mm.
We'll be 67 relatively soon. And so I don't know what else you want to know about me. I can talk about myself for forever.
That's an
Well,
ideal guest.
yes. Well, let's let Susie ask the first question, and then we'll alternate.
Yeah, you wield that pad like a pro.
Um, yeah, so it's fun, Lisa. So it's fun looking you up and seeing all the many different things that you've done. I
I
didn't
feel
know
so
how many.
violated.
No, it was all good. It's all
I'm
very good.
teasing. I don't.
Very,
Look me up.
it's very very respectful. As much as you want it to be. No, it all was. But yeah, so kind of like, so to be honest, it's like I didn't know what I can kind of guess what an artistic director does, but so for someone like me who really, I see the role, I can kind of look it up and it says, you're kind of like the CEO and you do this. How would you describe what your primary roles are as the ground floor artistic director?
Well, it's interesting. So I'm the executive executive artistic director, which is really two roles. I am playing the executive director of the organization, meaning I deal with all the operations and the executive stuff, and then the artistic director. And you asked specifically about the artistic director. Uh, and the artistic director is basically the artistic hub of the organization. So all artistic, I wouldn't say all, but creative decision making
Mm-hmm.
goes through me. Uh, I work pretty collaboratively, but I always like to describe myself as a director of theater and as an artistic director of a creative organization as, and I hope I don't get mail about this, but I call myself a benign dictator. Um, and by that, I mean, I work extremely creatively. I mean, collaboratively and creatively. I work with people to really find something. That's the beauty of being an artist and doing artistic ventures with others. It's a collaborative nature. And the thing that I have in my mind, the final product is very different because I brought all these other creative minds in to help. But, or at the same time, I try not to say but because, everything before the but is ignored. Um, and if a tie needs to be broken, if we're at an impasse, I personally don't believe that consensus really works all that well. I am the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
And then it all ends. And I will say in my career that spans beyond ground floor theater, I haven't had to exercise that authority very often. And I'm proud of that.
That's a pretty cool thing to be able to say.
Yeah. Does that answer your question?
It does.
Okay.
Thank you.
Lisa, I want to switch gears. You have been one of the iconic leaders of the LGBTQ community. For example, you were involved in founding the Trans Educational Network of Texas. You have been uh, involved in so much. I know that you also have been involved in Days of Remembrance. Can you tell us about both the Trans Educational Network of Texas and about the Days of Remembrance?
Yeah. So TENT, or Transgender Education Network of Texas, is the product of ATGOY. Yeah, what's ATGOY? So when I first moved here to Austin from Chicago, I was very involved nationally in the trans community and in the state of Illinois and in the city of Chicago, very much as I ended up here in Austin. But I'm going to give you a little bit of biography at the same time, and then I'll answer your question. When I moved here to Austin, I really planned on not getting involved. I wanted to, if your listeners know what stealth means, when I moved here, I really just wanted to live my life. I didn't want to be labeled as a trans woman. I just wanted to be a woman in Austin. And at the time, trans people didn't exist to the outside world. Trans people really didn't exist to the outside world until marriage equality was passed and they needed another target. And suddenly we became very visible. But at the time, there were very few of us, and most people that I take that back. There were a whole bunch of us, but there were very few of us that were visible. And most of the folks that were visible looked like me, meaning we were white, trans women of a certain age. But when I got here, I received an email from someone. I guess my reputation preceded me. And they said they're trying to get gender identity added to the Human Rights Ordinance of the City of Austin, but they've hit a snag, a stalemate, and would I mind coming to a meeting of some people? Well, that meeting turned into ATGOI, which we called, and it's a terrible name, Austin Transgender Ordinance Initiative. But we worked to get that through City Council, which it did. And we did that in conjunction with Equality Texas at the time, which was called LGRL, the Lesbian Gay Rights Lobby of Texas, as well as ALGO. And they sponsored this fledgling organization. Well, after we got that done, there was a group of us. Many of us are still here in Austin. Some of us are still active. Some of us are less active. But we wanted to keep this little coalition going. So we changed ATGOI into TACT, Transgender Advocates of Central Texas. And we did that for a while. And we were an advocacy group and a support group. And then I noticed that we were missing a statewide organization. There was a statewide organization that was really a Yahoo group that had pretty much disappeared. So I went to Paula Bowles. There were six or seven of us, and I said, "Hey, why don't we make this organization statewide and be an advocacy organization?" And we had a really wonderful meeting where we formed TENT, Transgender Education Network of Texas, and we became a volunteer organization. We got our 501c3, and we worked to educate and inform the citizens of Texas about the gender diverse community. And it is transformed since then. And Emmett Schilling, who took over as executive director, and we got funding and he got paid, and they are now a big powerhouse with a large staff, and I'm so proud of the work that they do. And with regards to the Day of Remembrance, so I became personally involved with the Transgender Day of Remembrance. I call it the DOR. Most people in the community call it the TDOR or TDOR. I got involved with that the year after it started in Chicago. And we had I don't want to call it a celebration, but a service that honored trans women that were killed because of violence and hate. And at the time of the ones we knew, there were only, there was one a month that were being killed. And we would honor these people, mostly trans women of color. And when I came here, there was a group that did it the year before I got here. It was done at the, what's that big university? The University of Texas, South Steps. But they would not allow open flames, and I felt a candlelight vigil was really important. So we moved around. We ended up being at City Hall. But the Transgender Day of Remembrance was always an amazing, heartwarming, and loving experience. It was important to me to do it in a public place. I wanted people to see us as they were walking by. So we did it out at City Hall, right on Cesar Chavez, where people walked around us, and many stopped and listened, mostly respectable. And the Day of Remembrance continues on. And because of the visibility of trans people, those numbers have just grown. And trans people, especially trans women of color, are disproportionately targeted for hate and violence. And oftentimes the killing of these women is what we call overkill, where they're killed in the most brutal and heinous ways. And oftentimes the killers go unpunished, uninvestigated, and they run free. So I wish I could say that was in our past. It's not. and we continue to fight the fight.
Yes, in fact, I have to add my own personal. When I moved to Austin, I came here for a job. I was a legal advisor to the Austin Police Department, and the term used for a trans woman of color who was killed was misdemeanor murder, which is one of the most outrageous terms I think you could ever hear. And at the time, I had not realized that I was trans, but it just still rankled with me, and it's something that always, for me, the whole term misdemeanor murder is one of the reasons that police departments tend to have bad names. They do things like that.
Yeah.
So,
I will, before you move on, Sparkle, I do want to say that, yeah, I hear you, and that just breaks my heart hearing that, especially since I've had a long relationship with the APD, and I know a lot of the officers as part of the City of Austin, Travis County Hate Crimes Task Force. We worked with them, and specifically that came out after LGBTQ hate crime. So I would hope that was a minority of APD that treated trans people in such a heinous way. But I will say that I think there are police officers on both sides of that coin.
yeah, that's very true. Anytime you engage in stereotypes, you do an injustice to a large number. And there are some very good police officers, but unfortunately, there's some that are not very good.
100%.
So, Susie, let you ask the next question.
I've got a bunch of questions, but one of them is, when did you, Lisa, when did you move here from Chicago?
I moved here, I mean, dates are sketchy, but I think it was 2003.
Okay.
Pretty sure it was 2003.
Okay, yeah, I was just curious. So regarding back to ground floor, regarding I was looking at your website and looking at all the cool things y'all are doing, and one of the things I thought was really amazing was the queer camp.
Q Camp.
Q camp. Okay, so is that, I was assuming it's queer camp? Is that
It is Queer Camp, and in full transparency, we changed the name from Queer Camp to Q Camp
okay?
in deference to the safety of our campers.
Got it.
When we talked about bringing queer out of the title, my reflex was no. We're going to be out there loud and proud, but it's about the safety of the campers.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So we don't hide it, but we now call it Q Camp.
I stand corrected. Well, safety is important, especially now. It always is, and especially now. So, I don't know if you're like running sponsoring the camp. I was going to say, like, that must be so much fun. And so a couple of questions. First, how do the kids hear about it? I mean, I know there's Out Youth and places like that. Where do the kids hear about it? And what is it like? What are some of the challenges of working with these kids in this platform as camp?
Q Camp is amazing. It is happening right now.
Yeah.
On July 31st, when we're taping this. We are in the middle of it. This is our second year. When I first started Ground Floor Theater with Patty and F. Tiven, one of the things that we wanted to do from the beginning was have a youth camp, specifically an LGBTQ youth camp. We could never find the funding. Last year, through the generosity of the Sala Foundation, we received a grant to fully fund Q Camp. Q Camp is free of charge to our campers. They don't pay a penny. And what they do is they come in, it's a 2-week program, 5 days a week, all day. They come in, they spend the first week. I'm sorry if you're hearing my dogs, but maybe Zoom is taking their barks away.
Fine.
God darn you, Zoom, you're just too good. So that first week is in the morning, we do theater games and we teach about theater and stuff like that. And in the afternoon, we start devising an original play of their choosing. This is all about empowering these young people. And then in the second week, we bring in professional designers and we teach them about all those different, lighting and sound and scenic design and props. And they create the scenic, the props and everything for their show. This year it's called Off the Rails. And then we perform it to the public, which I will just shout out right now. It is this Saturday
August 2nd.
On the
August
2nd
2nd.
at 7:30. Tickets are available, if I can say that, at groundfloortheater.org. Uh, and it is an amazing piece. But let me tell you something, this program has far exceeded our expectations. After last year, I can honestly say without exaggeration, we changed lives. These young people came in on day one, reserved and scared and not knowing what to expect. Some of them came, actually, many of them last year came from uh, Killeen and up north because they have no other outlet to express themselves as queer people. Um, and then by day two, they were already coming out of their shell. And by the showtime, they were completely out. And that group of people, 8 the first year, continued on. They met almost weekly. And I'm happy to say all but one who fled Texas because of their parents didn't feel they could keep their child safe. All of them came back this year. So we have a class of 13 people. And I can say that we are changing lives once again. You know, one of the challenges of working with this population is they are so hurt and they are so not listened to that our challenge is to convince them that this is safe, that they are going to be listened to, that they have agency, that there is love, and that we're going to have a good time, and we're going to work hard. You know, we don't coddle them. They are producing these shows. They memorize their lines. They wrote the show, and it is incredible. We feed them lunch and snacks, and they love the food. It's all about the food. Um, and I can say that Q Camp is an amazing thing. I will say that this year we did not get funding, and we were getting around time where we had to either do it or not do it because it was getting time where we needed to send out notice for applications. And at one point, I just looked at my staff and I said, you know what, we're just going to do it. If I have to fund it out of my bank account, I will do that. But the community has been very, very generous, and I'm very happy to say that we're not at our goal, but we're very close to our goal. I won't let this program die. It's too important, and it does change lives.
It sounds so wonderful. Do you know of any other theaters doing anything like this?
Well, I think a lot of theaters do camps in different ways, and I think every one of them is very good in their own way. I will say I think we are unique in Austin, where in that we devise and we empower our campers. I think more than many, but there are other agencies working with under-resourced communities and resource communities. I mean, I do not want to poo-poo anybody that's working with the kids and charging money for classes because arts education is so important, and we're losing funding for that from every side, federal and state. So I'm not poo-pooing anybody. I think that we at Ground Floor Theater have created something special in the way that Ground Floor Theater operates differently from other theater companies. I think that we've created something unique. I would be happy. We had talked about this at our staff meeting today. I would be so happy if other companies, theater companies, other arts organizations, other organizations started mimicking what we do and calling it their own. I do not hold, we don't hold a trademark on this because it's so important to all people in all communities.
It makes me very excited hearing about it. Sounds absolutely fabulous. And
Come see the show. Did I mention it's on August 2nd at 7:30?
I think so. Yes. Yes, I will. I plan to see it. Yeah.
Lisa, you have always been so wonderful when it comes to children who are outside the norm. And one of the programs I know you've been involved is the intergenerational pen pal program. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. What is that? Sorry,
The
I'm
pro-
teasing. I'm teasing because Governor Sparkle and I were cohorts in that class, and I keep forgetting the name of world famous Bob's organization. So you might help me,
Well,
Sparkle.
the Austin Bat Cave and then Rainbow Connections
Rainbow
with
Connections and Austin Batcave have this program for intergenerational um, queer pen pals, and it is people of a certain age. I myself and Sparkle. There were people I think as young as in the mid 40s or 50s, I think, um, and we would create relationships with middle and high school students through pen pals and Austin Batcave and Rainbow Connections worked really hard to create a safe environment for the students and the adults. And we met separately and we wrote letters to our pen pals. We worked on our writing skills ourselves and we talked about what we want and we'd send things to the pen pals and they would send things back. And twice a year we would meet them in person, which was always the highlight. Um, and that was another situation, Sparkle. I think you probably had the same um, experience in that lives changed. I know one of my pen pals, I think last year, and boy, my advanced age, I forgot their name, but they were having a really hard time as a trans person with their family and stuff like that. But I know that the work that we did at that intergenerational group changed their life, at least for a short while. I have not talked to them in a while, but amazing experience. And I did it for 3 years, and I think Sparkle did it for 3 years as well. I think 3 years. I can't time. What is time? It's August already.
Oh.
That's it.
That's wonderful. Sparkle, do I get to ask another question?
yes,
Gov?
and then we'll finish, and then I'll finish with the last question. So
Okay. So I like to ask our guests, even though Lisa, you are number two, our second guest.
I'm the second guest.
Yes.
Oh my God. That
Yeah.
makes me happy. Sorry.
No, please. Please be happy. Very happy. I'm very happy. You're
You
happy.
know, number two tries harder. That will only resonate with a certain group of people.
So what do you do for fun? What are some of your, like, that can be, so I kind of combine this thing. What do you do for fun? And because I don't have time to ask the second question, that can include hobbies. And what do you do to take care of yourself for self-care?
I don't, to be honest. My life is about ground floor theater right now. But if I had time and if I had money, I am a private pilot. I love to fly.
Hmm.
I have a culinary degree. I love to cook.
Wow.
So those are things that give me a lot of joy. And but I get so much joy, and I guess you might get it from my passion when I talk about some of the things you've asked me about, is seeing other people grow. That just gives me so much joy. And in my role at Ground Floor Theater, I see that a lot. And certainly right now, as we speak, with Q Camp, it's like all over me. So you're catching me at a moment of a lot of fulfillment. So that brings me a lot of joy. Also, I like to watch TV.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yep. I'm a TV watcher.
And you have a dog or two?
Yeah, okay, I knew you can hear him. That's Whiskey. I have Foxtrot and Whiskey.
And what kind of dogs are they?
Whiskey is a Terrier, and Foxtrot, I actually, when I got her from the shelter, they said she was a full purebred PBGV, which is a Petit Basset Griffon Vendéen, which is the kind of dogs I'd always had. I love PBGVs. So I went and looked at her and I said, yeah, I think she has a lot of PBGV in her, but she's not a PBGV. I had her tested because that's how important it was for her to be a PBGV. She is zero PBGV. She is a conglomerate of 8 different dogs, as well as a super mutt.
All right.
But she's adorable and she loves me.
Lisa, this unfortunately has got to be our final question. As you certainly know, the queer community, we have been the scapegoats. It's just been a tough time to be queer in the US and probably in the world. Do you have a message that you give to those of us who fit in this category?
Yeah, and I will say I'm going to narrow that down a little bit. To be gender diverse is a really dangerous way to be in our current environment nationally. But I do believe that the arc of, yeah, boy, I lost the quote, but we are heading in the right direction. You know, I believe that we will be in good shape down the road. One day, all these people who are spewing so much hatred and vitriol and committing violence against the trans community will look back and say, they may not say it, but they will know they are on the wrong side of history. That being said, right at this very moment in time, it is very dangerous to be gender diverse in the state of Texas and now in the country of the United States. Uh, so as I go through my life as an activist, I do not begrudge anybody that wants to remain safe and quiet. I believe everybody can be supporters and activists and advocates in their own way, and it doesn't always have to be loud and proud. Um, but I will always fight for the queer community and specifically the gender diverse community. And I will put my life in peril to save others. And I won't back down on that. I won't hesitate on that. I would do that. And myself and other people, other elders in the queer community like me would do exactly the same thing. So I think my message to younger folks out there is that it's going to get better. It's not great now, but it will get better. And you have people that are there to work for you and protect you. And I will say to those of us that are not so young anymore, we're in the same boat. It's going to get better too. And it feels really lousy right now. But it will get better. And there are so many organizations doing really good work out there, and we will persevere, but we also have to fight. I do want, before you stop me from talking, I just need to shout out to Governor Sparkle, who came out on this scene relatively recently, but has worked so hard. I will say a lot harder than me, fighting in our state capitol, which is a beautiful building with people doing terrible things. But she's out there fighting for you with all of her heart. And that's not easy for someone who is 40 years old. So I want to thank you for all the work you've done from 2017, I think, till now.
Thank you so much. Lisa, you have been a wonderful, wonderful guest, and I'm going to stop the recording right now.
She says
And
that, but it usually keeps recording.
Yeah, I do the
yeah,
same thing.
Because of threats, you know.
Hold on just a second. My dog is destroying something. Oops. I don't know how she got this, but she's destroying this huge book.
What book is it?
The Universe